View of Magicians. It's not good. I love them. I am one. But I claim that it's real. That's why I sued David Copperfield 2005, because they're using my godly supernatural powers and I wanted some compensation for it. If you look at my patents, the link on the patent video clip there, it kind of explains that I don't think the world is quite as it is. That magic somehow exists in reality, just not too much near me. It's I claim to be the center of reality, and that outside of this reality bubble that I live in, essentially my view, outside of my view, there is things going on that defy explanation, and yet somehow that isn't captured on the video cameras. So it's this thinking pattern, which I will swear up and down and bet any amount of money on, that this is somehow occurring, and I still have trouble understanding how this could be occurring, and yet I'll bet money that it does. It's unbelievable that this could be happening. But what happens, so the way it works in reality is that if you can be supernatural outside of me, if you can be supernatural outside of my viewing area, my reality bubble, and you can disguise it so that it's hidden well, you can do magic tricks. And as long as you have a real explanation for it, or somewhat plausible, you can pull it off. And so you would think that there would be a bunch of David Copperfields out there, right? There's not. And the reason is that somehow, like the Shaquille O'Neals who are 7'2", sometimes people are born freaks. Shaquille is a freak. I'm a freak. David Copperfield's a freak because he can do more than the average person with his supernatural powers. He can disguise it well in the reality realm that we exist in. And the good magicians, like David Blunt, the Chris Angels, especially Chris Angel, he's the best one out there. They are freaks. He has a mind freak. Well, he's not just a mind freak, he's a freak, because he's been given the gift to be able to do more than anybody else is able to do. And that is to, I mean, he's flying up, walking up buildings now. It's like, you know, it's hard to actually, you know, do that and somehow say that, you know, and he's actually claiming that this is real. Oh, I'm doing this. There's no camera tricks. I'm doing this, you know. And let me give you the other perspective of what he should be doing. One second. I was thinking of Penn and Teller. What Penn and Teller does, and they're magicians as well, and they're pretty talented as well. They're freaks. But what they do is they always back it up. They always say, "Listen, they do some wild, incredible thing, hard to imagine how that can be done." And then what they do is they follow it up with, "Hey, here's how. I'm not going to show you that trick, but I'm going to show you how we're just doing a bunch of tricks. Because I'm going to show you a simpler trick. And I'm going to show you how it's done, so that you believe that the one that I just showed you that was just blew your mind is actually just reality too." Okay. So that whenever there's, for most of the magicians, whenever there is a good trick that just blows your mind, they usually follow it up with a dumpy one, and they show you how it's done. Right. They don't never tell you how the good ones are done. They always tell you how the dumpy ones are done. Every time you get the Masters of Illusions show coming up on my TV here, following it is Breaking the Magician's Code, Breaking the Silence, Breaking Magician's Code, how the magic secrets revealed. That show. So that when you have a show full of incredible crap that's blowing your mind, then you follow it up with a bunch of dumpy stuff that they show that this explains how it's done. Thus, since all these dumpy ones, they're showing you how these dumpy ones are done, then the good ones are also plausible too. You get it? So, and what that's doing is essentially, it's like in doing a magic trick, they're pulling the wool over your eyes. Literally, they're trying to convince you that what they're doing is not real. What they're doing, and that, because I guess they think you're stupid and naive or something, or just uneducated or something. I guess that's why I'm here, is to educate you that this stuff is actually, the world is actually far more magical than you'd ever find in any scientific lab. In fact, supernatural does not exist in reality. There is no proof of the supernatural existing until I took David Copperfield to court over godly powers. That is the first time that somebody has done that. I actually put supernatural on the map. I even tried to make the patent for it. Of course, that whole patent agency is corrupt as well, so I didn't get very far with that one either. So the trick is, and like I say, some of these freaks have been given the gift to be able to do more than the rest. You can't find okay. Let's say there's a college you go to school, College of Engineering, and you go to school. Pretty much anybody with a brain, pretty much, 10% of the people can walk into a college and get an engineering degree. Okay. Now, 10% of the people cannot walk into a college of magicians and come out doing David Copperfield stuff. See, it's not the same, because you have to have been given the gift, and that's the reason why. Oh, and what they claim is that, you have to buy this trick, and it usually costs that's $1 million for that trick, the one that David Copperfield's floating on a stage. Well, the reason why they say that is so that you can't afford it, so that you can't go to school. They make the school impossible to go to because it's too expensive, and that's the trick. They know you're stupid enough to believe this. What's actually happening is that they've been given the gift to be able to pull off the stuff, and all they do is use their mind and a bunch of geniuses to help you figure out tricks to do that you can disguise it well, or that you can have an alternative excuse so that when you do the trick, then you have Code of Secrets, the secrets of the Magician's Secrets Revealed with the Masked Man. You do a trick on a camera with the real trick, and then you say, this is how it's done on the magic show with the Masked Man. And if you conjure up tricks like that, then that's the trick. That's actually the brain work involved. There's no brain work involved with magic, other than some people have been given more gifts. So you take those guys with gifts and you use your brains, and you try to figure out a way to fool people, to say, hey, we know that 90% of the world is stupid, so we're just going to tell them, hey, it's done this way, when in actuality it's this way. There has been times when, like, David Copperfield was walking on thin air out in the middle of outside, and this was back in the 80s or something like that when he did this, and that's when they realized that they gotta tone it down. They cannot do stuff like that without the real explanation, without the Code of Magicians Revealed version of it, so that so that the masked man can show you how it's done. And he's been doing a good job. The masked man's been doing a good job convincing you that the really good ones are just regular crap. By the way, that magician, that masked man, the reason why the reason why that masked man is masked, okay? They're trying to convince you that this guy is a bad guy for revealing all this crap, okay? That all the magicians are pissed off that this guy is revealing all this crap. Let me explain what that is too. That's another. They think you're stupid, and so I'm going to tell you why they think you're stupid enough to believe that. What's actually going on? The main reason is because the masked guy can actually have a double. So you can do. So then they convince you, because they're using doubles, that every magician has a twin or something up there doing. So they fluff it up their tricks by doing the double thing, and they make you think that everything is just doubles and stuff like that. So that's the main reason. What was the other? Oh, one second. The other thing, the magicians want that guy to be there. That was the reason why they put that guy up there. So they're not pissed off that he's there. They put him there on purpose so that they convince you that their stuff is just natural crap. Okay? That they're not doing anything magical, because that would be Jesus' thing. We can't have Jesus walking around, because we're waiting for Chris Roller to do that. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be Jesus. So they put this front up there, this guy pulling the wool over your eyes, a magic trick. They're saying that we don't like this guy. The magicians are saying we don't like this guy because he's revealing all our tricks. And what they were saying early on, back in the 90s when this guy came up, is that, hey, we want this guy to do this so that the magicians will come up with more tricks, better tricks. Because we're tired of the same old crap. We want better tricks. Which is true. What was happening? It was dual fold. Back then it was dual fold. Is that we want an explanation for this stuff, but we also want the big magicians to come forward. We want to be able to find the good ones and want bigger and better tricks so that we can escalate the world of magic in this planet. And you might ask, what the hell for, right? Well, they've known about me for some time, since approximately when my show started, back in '85, when I joined the Navy. That's when they tracked down to me. They've been noticing that, well, they suspect that I would be a force to be dealt with. So they are trying to get magic to become more real on this planet. I guess in an effort to defeat me or conquer me or whatever, or compete with me or something. I don't kill me maybe, whatever. So that was the reason why this show first came out. It was twofold. To tell you that the stuff's natural, but more of it was to get the magicians to do something more, so that we can get magic going more forward. Now, there may be some. The reason why more magic is not just for me. Let me think here. Well, I'm not sure I should get into it too much, but there's probably things in the satanic world that they could do some bad things with these powers if they can make them more real. They've been doing stuff in the non-real to people. And what's strange about that is it's actually true, but it's not real. And that's why only you can find this evidence out inside the courtroom. Using Truth Under Oath service, you can find what's. Anyways, I think that they may have agendas in getting this thing real so that they could commence some whoop ass on the population. And usually there's not just. I'm giving like 2 explanations. There's usually 4 or 5. So but one of those, a big one was to maybe to be able to deal with me later. And sure enough, I would show up on the doorstep, figuring all this out, and you know, and now I've got my first kick-ass magic trick. It's called Truth Under Oath, and I should talk. I got to talk about hypnotists and that kind of thing too, because that's in the realm of magicians. Let me think. What else? I want to show you a clip. I was going to show you a clip right now. Let's do that.
A magician is not a juggler. He is an actor playing a role, the role of a sorcerer. So wrote the celebrated French conjurer Robert Houdin. If Robert Houdin had the gift of prophecy, he may have foreseen the arrival of his namesake, Harry Houdini. In the history of conjuring, no actor has been more celebrated. His complex...
Now, when you saw that, you saw boom, something just showed up there, right? Boom. This is back in whenever they filmed this, probably in the 40s or 30s or something. I don't even know. But this is what, I think that was on a Houdini. I picked that up from a Houdini CD, DVD. I'm not sure if that was Houdini or that was just somebody like him. Anyways, doing something like that was uncalled for after. I mean, it didn't take too long doing something like that before people started complaining. And it's not complaining, it's getting freaked out. You can't just make something appear there out of nowhere. You can't just do it. You got to put a curtain in front of it. So they realized, hey, I got to put a curtain in front of it and everything. And then, oh, okay, they're doing something behind the curtain to make that show. You can't just poof something out of nowhere. You can't just disappear out of nowhere. They realized that after some like mistakes, you could say mistakes or just viewer feedback. Or they could have talked to Penn and Teller and realized, hey, we got to come up with some BS on the side to keep them from getting too carried away. By the way, Penn and Teller is not too happy with Chris Angel. I don't think any of the magicians are too happy with Chris Angel. He's just been gifted with the ability to be able to do more of the crap, of the weird. He's the biggest freak out there, able to do more. So he's doing it, and I think he's doing it against the conscience of the magician community. Because the stuff's so outrageous, it's hard to explain, and people are freaking out. So you got the Magician's Secrets Revealed guy constantly trying to put out the fires that Chris Angel starts. So they're not too happy with that, with him. The community was probably a little upset at David Blaine. He cooled it down. He cooled down his own fire and started doing stuff like you see on TV, hiding inside a block of ice. He changed his show now, so it's not so much the street magician and stuff. He's hiding underwater for 15 minutes, which is ridiculous. Staying underwater for 15 minutes. Who in the hell would think you could do that? Of course, he held the world record for like a few months. I mean, it's ridiculous. But he calmed it down. This Chris Angel guy, he's off on he's unleashed. He's without leash, and they can't control him. And Chris Angel's making lots of money. That's kind of why he's doing it. But people are freaking out, and I thought the season was starting at Chris Angel this year, and I saw one episode. Next thing you know, he's no longer on the TV. And he was that last episode I saw, he was going 100 feet in the air out in the Sahara, out in the Nevada desert, and puts a curtain in front of him, and the whole thing disappears. He just disappears in the cape and everything. So they're getting freakier and freakier. This is kind of what they want to do. They want to get freakier out there, at the same time, these fires, it's confusing to me because I know that they're trying to push the envelope because they're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me, but they need to get magic more real so that they can do it. So it seems weird to me that they would be resistant to Criss Angel when they want to be able to push the envelope. It's like a split personality that it's really weird how the magicians go back and forth like that. But I will say that it's a very slow process from going where they were, say, 10 years ago to today. There's been little evolution. Actually, Criss Angel has actually jumped it up a bunch. But what can be done in front of me is actually very small. I'm going to show you a clip of this guy at the Renaissance Festival. I saw him swallow a balloon in his mouth, and he did it right in front of me. Now, last year, well, let me show you the clip. Let me show you the clip.
That's close enough. That's good. Yeah. Don't want to pop my eyes out. That kind of scares the children. I forgot you guys were here. Here we go. Now, kids, don't go home and try this. It's the dumbest thing I do in the show. Well, maybe not the dumbest thing, but it's right there at the top with a couple other things I'll show you. So. Boy, this looks huge from down here. Things always look bigger when you look up at them. You realize that? Thank you very much. Okay, pick an animal. Well, maybe this isn't what you came to see. I've got kids in the crowd. I got to tell them about this. But now here's the deal. I'm actually a street magician. My name's Brother Paul, and I've been doing this for 36 years professionally, which is absolutely crazy. I've traveled around. I figured, 36 years ago, I figured I'd go out, share my magic with a little group of people on street corners, pass my hat at the end of the show, make a living. And last Thursday, I realized it was a career. I don't know when that happened. That's okay. That's all right. But so I'm going to do some magic for him. I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite tricks. 3. That's all you get. All right. That's not a bad one, though. That's not. Yeah, I know. Relax. Don't do that at home. All right. Don't do that at home. All right. Good.
Anyways, that was that's one of the most I don't know, one of the greatest things I've ever seen in front of that's been done in front of me was that trick. The entire balloon was swallowed. I'll actually show you. I did it. I'll get another one up here of the same guy. This guy is something else, man. This Brother Paul. But what they're doing, he swallowed the entire balloon. I haven't a clue how he could pull that off. I mean, no residual balloon or anything. I mean, there's nothing to pull out of it. It's just I love magic. I tell you, I just love watching these guys. But they get really nervous when you videotape them. Not exactly sure why, but I'm not sure why. It's still a mystery to me why they get. You'll see in the next clip. I got a second clip. He just looks at me when I'm videotaping him. I don't know if this got some kind of copyright issue of the. I don't see a problem with. I don't know why they'd be nervous about me videotaping them when they're doing some cool stuff. But a year ago, or a year or two ago, probably a year ago, I think I was at the Renaissance. They're doing some more magic. And I was with Donna at this time. Anyways, they did some good stuff. Let me get on track here. Let me get focus here. Okay, what I'm trying to say, this balloon thing. I think it was 2 years earlier. They tried to do they did this balloon. They did the same thing on another show. I can't remember what stage it was. Oh yeah, it was at the Legion in Savage. Some guy came in and did the balloon trick, but he did it. He was facing away. Actually, the first time I saw Brother Paul do this, I saw his show twice that day. He faced away. He faced away from me and put it in his mouth, faced away from me. And he did it on purpose because he's not sure he can pull us off. It sounds so bizarre. What I'm saying is going to sound bizarre. But they're not sure that they can do this in front of me. So they have to like conduct matters on a smaller scale. They can't just So I'm at the Legion a year before this, and some guy does this balloon trick where he swallows the whole thing, but he's doing it away from me, so I can't see it actually in his mouth. It's away from me. I can't even see his mouth. I can't even. The camera angle's like this, and I can't see anything. So it wasn't as spectacular as actually seeing him shove this thing in his mouth. And I saw the beginning. I saw the whole thing where it's. Where, you know, it's not like he's putting it behind this way or this way. It's going into his mouth. And the first time I saw Brother Paul do it on that trick, he faced away from me. But for this trick, this is the second show, he faced toward me so that I could see it. What he did for the first show is he faced away from me, puts it in his mouth, and then at the right amount of time, he faces forward to show that it's in there. And it looks natural. It looks natural as heck that he's able to show me this. It looks natural that he's able to demonstrate this to me. Like he's not like against some kind of will. Like he has. What I'm saying is he doesn't have the willpower to be able to do everything he wants to. If he had the willpower, he'd be killing me right now. That's what he'd be doing if he could actually do it. But all they can muster, I mean, this is a spectacular trick. But what I'm saying is that they're not able to control themselves in my presence. They can't do what they want to, and they cannot demonstrate what they want to. So they got to take it in steps, and then. So that's why he faced away from me the first demonstration. I didn't get on video yet. And then he gets it halfway down, then he faces forward, and I saw it in his mouth. That was the next step. That was a progression. That was a progression of the magic trick. So then, for the second show, he faced my way and stuck it in his mouth so I could see the whole thing. It was just great. And I want them to advance. I want them to kill me. I mean, I want them to advance so they kill me. I mean, not kill me, not kill me. I just. But let me just say that it just takes a long evolution of steps for these guys to be able to pull off some of these feats in front of me. It's a year or two between the one balloon that was facing away from me and this guy doing this thing. So it's a long process to I mean, we went from David Copperfield back in, was it 90, to doing what Chris Angel's doing today. That's 20 years later. So it's a progression. It's a slow progression, especially in front of me. I mean, what they're doing on TV is something, but doing it in front of me, it's very, very slow. And it makes them impatient. But it looks so natural. When people are trying to kill me, it looks so natural that they just look like they're twiddling their fingers. See, it looks like they're twiddling their fingers when they're actually thinking about trying to figure out a way to kill me. And it looks so natural, them twiddling their fingers. Same way with this. He's facing away from me on the balloon trick, and then it just goes to the center like this is just part of his trick, and yet it was all there for me to show me what he could do in front of me. And then the next time I saw him, he puts it in his mouth facing me on my side, so that I could see the whole thing. It was great. That's the camera shot I gave you.
I see it.
And sometimes magic's so subtle you never see it happen. This could be it right here. Up, up, up. There goes, there goes, there goes. Watch, right in the center, right in the center. Can you believe this?
I thought that was a pretty good one too. I'm not sure if you saw me. I think he was looking at me when I think he looked at me when he was nervous or something when I was videotaping. He just gets nervous or something. But he knows who I am. He knows who I was. I was after his first act. I said, "Good, you know, that was impressive, you know." And so he was aware of me when the second act, and I think he expected me to be there for the second act. I don't think he wanted me to videotape, but that was impressive. What that's somebody from the audience tied the knots, and then he comes up there and the knots sort of undoes itself. I love it. I absolutely love it. I wish that I wish I could watch it all day. I really do. And it's just there's only so much they can do right now. That's what they're working on. They're trying to figure out something to. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a clip of Magician's Secrets Revealed. And I'm going to show how... Well, I'm just going to show you the clip and then I'll talk about it. But watch the steel spike, how it's not vertical. She's going to fall through a steel spike and it's going to be vertical. And they've got a explanation for how they do it. But let me just show you the clip. Notice that it's not quite vertical. It's off centered. It's off at an angle. Not quite perfect. I'm trying to show you the flaws in how they demonstrate how the trick is done. They have flukes in their presentation of how it's done, and yet they do it on stage like it's no problem. They can't. They do it on stage, lickety split like it's no problem, and then when they're demonstrating in slow motion on the side, they have these flukes and errors that they do. And what I'm saying is that they actually do the trick real, and then they tell you how it's done on the side, and they can't quite do it right. That's what I'm going to show right here.
They look lethal, but they're really quite harmless. They're as soft and pliable as a bath sponge or a toy bow and arrow set. The center spike contains some bigger secrets. When the assistant is placed on the spike, it appears that the spike goes right through her beautiful body. But if you look closely, you can see that the tip of this spike retracts into the shaft. When the assistant is placed on top, the point simply sinks down inside the spike, which is really a sturdy hollow pipe. Beneath her costume, the assistant is wearing a special harness that rests against the small of her back and has a socket that fits over the end of the phony spike. Without her fancy dress on, we see how easy it is to make the magic happen. When the men lift her, the magician guides the socket to the top of the spike. From this angle, we can see the moment the tip retracts and the harness attaches to the pipe. While the steel pipe and harness support her back, the girl must use her tremendous abdominal strength to keep her shoulders and legs up. This is the result of hours in the gym. Next, when the magician makes his magical gesture, the girl appears to be impaled by the spike. But how? Hidden inside the spike is a spring-loaded piston which retracts into itself. This lowers the assistant down, creating the illusion that the spike is being driven into her. See? She's actually just going for a ride as the piston slides the pipe down over itself. There is a release cable that runs from off-stage to the base of the spike. Off-stage, a stagehand controls the action. The girl is loaded onto the fake spike, and the stagehand waits for his cue. The magician motions, the stagehand pulls the cable, releases the piston, and the spike lowers the girl. If you look closely, you can even see the cable as it's pulled. We're so busy watching the girl being impaled that we don't even notice. But if the girl and the spike are lowered at the same time, how does the tip of the spike appear to puncture her stomach? The assistant has a duplicate spike tip that attaches to a magnet on the front of her harness. See? It's just strapped on. Her careful timing when placing the tip creates the illusion that the duplicate tip is actually being driven through her. As she's being positioned on the pipe, the girl removes the extra tip from a secret pocket in her costume and conceals it in her hand. Notice that she keeps her hands directly above her abdomen until the tip appears to puncture her. This is to hide the fact that she's securing the tip to the magnet. Once the piston lowers and the tip is attached, all she has to do is let her arms fall and reveal the tip. The illusion that she is impaled is very convincing.
Oh, you know, I'm being a little bit picky here. If you look closely, I was trying to, without searching for a while, I lost to my previous video, which had the good evidence. If you look closely and you pay attention to the details of which they're demonstrating it, you realize just how complicated and hard it would be to do this. And what's strange is that they're not able to demonstrate this in slow motion, even in a demo here. I'm being picky. You can see that the spike is, you know, it's supposed to be straight and it's off at an angle like this. You know, and that's, I may be being picky, but I'm just demonstrating that there is these anomalies to their demonstration that indicate that they don't know what the hell they're doing. Because if they can do it that quick, you know, during the show, then they should be able to do it right when they're demonstrating the trick, how it's done for real, right? So if you just keep your eye open when you watch these things, you'll realize that, you know, they're off in left field. Sometimes it's you got to use a little bit of common sense when they're doing these things to understand just that, you know. So what I'm suggesting is that they actually do it real. They use real magic when they do these tricks for real life. And then they'll tell you how it's done in the slow motion version, in the long step version, and then they screw it up when they do that slow way. You'll just, if you look closer, you'll see how it's like, oh, it looks like it's really quick. It'd be really hard to do this, you know, do that trick. It takes lots of practice. And by the way, there's some tricks that I've bought, and it takes you, if you practice, you get good enough that it becomes like a rope trick, and the rope that looks like 3 lengths, and you put them together and it's 1 or something. It's been a little while since I did that one, but yeah, that took some practice. But what I'm saying is that they have so much practice that they're able to do it live at the beginning, and then they demo how it's done, and they can't even do that right in slow motion. That's my point. But yeah.
Thank you very much. Coming up next on Masters of Illusion, Dale Salwack.
when we return.
Yeah, I don't know why I picked this guy out of. There's a whole bunch of stuff on this show that's good. I just picked him and just showing that, you know, the Masked Magician is not explaining how the magic wand is turning into the handkerchief and then back into a wand, nor the flowers when it's coming out of his hand. There, I mean, that's you don't. Those are grade A tricks, and you're not seeing those grade A tricks explained on a grade C show like the Masked Magician puts out. But the idea here is to convince you that because the grade C tricks can be explained, then the grade A tricks can be explained. And he does that because, well, they're hoping you don't think much. They're hoping that you don't, I guess they're hoping you're stupid. But let's see if I can sum all this up. Reality, the reality of the world sort of protects itself and keeps everything in check of reality existing, such that scientists will have no proof that the supernatural exists. And yet somehow, to me, I know that it does, and it's based mostly on magicians, and that what they do is as long as they can use their supernatural powers and mask it such that they have an explanation for the trick in reality, then they can do it. So long as they have that, long as that stipulations are there, they can do the trick and exercise their powers in reality. Magicians are trying to get better and more, trying to break out of this non-magical reality bubble and break out something more magical in the world, maybe in hopes of defeating me, killing me or something. But I guess I'm hoping for something more magical too. I think my life would be a little bit. I might be able to fly if we got to that stage. It's just that it's a very slow process, especially my powers. I haven't even talked about hypnotism. I got to talk about hypnotism. I forgot about that. I was summing it up here and I forgot to talk about hypnotism. Is something similar. Well, what I do is Truth Under Oath is kind of a hypnotist thing where I put you, kind of get control of you through power of suggestion. Kind of, you say I swear to tell the truth, and now you do. So it's and I have some sort of control of you, and that's a little bit freaky when people are up there watching magicians. I mean, watching hypnotists, and they think, are they under their control? And I saw this thing at this hypnotist at the Renaissance, and they're always suggesting that they're always in control, because they're always conscious, and they always ask them, is this okay? Is this okay for you to kiss your husband? Is that going to be okay? And then they nod their head. So they make it. At least these days they do that. This back in the past they weren't doing that. They weren't asking their permission. They were just doing it. So that's something that's changed in recent years, probably courtesy of me and people that are skeptics of this stuff and question the morality. Imagine you can take somebody's, say, listen, I want you to have sex with me, and then it happens, and if that. I wish that worked for me. I wish I had that kind of power, Jesus. But they usually just call 911 for me. But the power of suggestion with hypnotists, like I said, these days, lately, they've been asking their permission to do most anything up there, and that's something that's changed. So, but it's actually they have control of them when they're actually under hypnosis. They have control of them, and so it should be spooky. That's why people may be spooked out by it, maybe because it should be. Because when you're locked under oath, when you're in the courtroom, that's something that's a little spooky. I mean, you're no longer allowed to lie. That's a little bit, that's a little bit unusual. And I wouldn't blame you at all if you're a little freaked out by that. So I'm having trouble getting paid for this because it's a little freaky. So I think that's about it for the hypnotist. So to sum it, I think I summed it up earlier that it's just a slow process of this magic happening, and it has to be masked as something real. Magicians, they don't like me, and they probably don't like Chris Angel too much because he's a little bit out there, doing more than can be explained at times. And I think that'll about do it for this clip.